Hey,
it's
what's
a
up? Welcome to
continuity
GT
thing.
Live.
No,
Elise is
the bottle
trying to
down.
disguise her bottle. Wait, is the bottle gone? Where'd it go? Magic trick.
I don't know anymore.
Elise Willems, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Elise Willems is in chat. She's going to be giving away codes. We'll get to that in a second. First of all, Anthony Carboni, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, hi.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, not much.
You've done stuff with game shows before. You've been on bonus round.
Yeah. I was in.
And
I think
stuff.
I was on for when Destiny launched.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that was the last time I've seen you guys. How have you been?
We've been fantastic.
Great.
Yeah, we get together for GT Live. You know, once a
Nice.
week we chat with people. And you are someone that I've been looking forward to chatting with for quite some time.
Because of the accusations.
Yeah, I think you owe me some money. We'll get to that at the end of the show. As you can see behind me, we are playing. Might look like Shovel Knight. Don't be confused. It is Shovel Knight: Plague of Shadows, which not one person can play, not two, but three people on the couch. Mike Huber, Brad Ellis, and Kyle Bosman are all playing Plague of Shadows. According to Mr. Bosman, when someone dies, you're gonna hand the controller off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Sure, or whatever.
Whatever. But you know how these rules go. If somebody feels like they almost had it, they could have maybe 2-3 lives. And die on all three of them.
I think the great way to raise the stakes is to have no rules. You know, just to have no. You know.
That's how I live my life.
That's
how I play Plague Knight.
Exactly.
That's how I do it. No rules.
And
I go to the Outback Steakhouse.
The codes. Oh, now you're making me hungry, man. Stop. I haven't had dinner yet. Now, and the codes we are giving away today are for Dungeon Defenders 2, which is currently in early access on Steam, and so these are Steam codes for the early access of Dungeons of Defenders 2. I love me some tower defense. You a fan of these games? The orcs must die. Stuff like that.
You have to kind of trick me into thinking I'm not playing a tower defense in order for me to like there has to be a lot of other stuff going on to distract me. Otherwise, I'm like, wait a minute.
Well,
I'm just playing
there's a lot of
another
stuff going
tower
on right there.
defense. There's a
You're
lot of stuff.
You're smacking people, you know. You're shooting arrows and flinging spells and stuff.
No, I think this one looks really good, but yeah, there has to be some sort of twist on it or some sort of different take on it in order for me to be really into it.
The twist is this is really fun. That's
the twist is it's a fun one.
And hey, if you get a code for free, then it's really fun.
Yeah.
And you can check it on early access and let people know how you dig Dungeon
The less
Defenders.
you pay for something, the more fun it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hey, Plague of Shadows, super fun. You have to pay anything for that.
Exactly.
Free expansion.
God, I loved Shovel Knight, and I haven't had a chance to mess around with this yet. But I'm watching it, and I'm already like, oh, I see how this has changed.
Well, believe it or not, I actually want to talk about you before we get to Shovel Knight.
Okay.
So there it is. So we got Mr. Carboni in the seat. We're playing Shovel Knight, and we are giving away codes for Dungeon Defenders, codes for questions. We're going to take your questions. We're going to throw them, Mr. Carboni, at the end of the show, forcefully at your head. You are doing a crazy amount of things. I remember seeing a video that you posted on social media sometime this year that was literally just like, hey, here's what I'm doing, just in case you're so confused about all the stuff that I'm doing. I mean, you're just constantly bouncing from one thing to the next. So update us on the world of Carboni.
Sure. Let's see. Coming up in a couple weeks, my TV show that I've been working on has been premiering with Tara Long, who used to be on Rev 3 Games and Destructoid, and we did a show together called Hard Science. And this is a show called Three Scientists Walk Into a Bar that we are doing that is actually going to be on the Weather Channel, believe it or not. It's going to be on In Between Maps. And so it's Sundays at 9, right before the 10 o'clock map, but after the 8 o'clock map. You can watch us, and it's me and her and Travis Taylor, who is a NASA rocket
We got some
scientist.
Hard Science outtakes rolling here.
Oh, yeah. That's from the one where we attached electrodes to our faces, and then Tara played us like an instrument.
So are we gonna, can we expect more things like this?
Yeah, but bigger. Like, everything we did on Hard Science was kind of like, what can we throw together for a couple $100? So it was kind of cool to be able to, number one, have Travis, who is a NASA rocket scientist, to help us build these things. And number two, kind of have a TV budget to build like giants. Like we built a tornado indoors. I light myself on fire, like my entire arm on fire. I jump off like a 40-foot tower. Like there's a lot of weird stuff going on. It's really fun.
Do you dig science? I mean, science is cool, but as far as like, creating content, do you dig science because it allows you to do kooky stuff like that and still call it educational at the same time? What is your attraction to science, having done so many shows?
Well, for me, it was always like when I was a kid growing up, your first TV that you watch is usually educational TV, right? So you Mr. Rogers, you Sesame Street, you 3-2-1 Contact, you Beakman's World, you Bill Nye, and then you are dumped unceremoniously into adult television where learning things is no longer fun. We've had Cosmos come back, and there are things like Mythbusters, that touch on scientific stuff. But I was kind of like, I want to make the adult version of 3-2-1 Contact. I want to make the grown-up version of Bill Nye, where it's like, yeah, here we're learning something, and this is hilarious, and this is fun. And to me, that's kind of nice because you walk away not just like, oh, that was a fun show, but you're also like, that's a fun show, and now I have like this cool fact that I can share with friends, or I know a little bit more about this thing that I always wondered about. So that to me is a pretty valuable thing and like a worthwhile thing to do, you know?
Yeah, and science is doing pretty good right now. Bill Nye is getting has successfully kickstarted his documentary,
Science is doing
right?
great right now. Like, very few people are burned at the stake anymore.
This is true.
Like, we know conclusively that there is gravity. And
Right,
yeah,
right.
like, there's a lot of cool stuff going on right now. Science is super popular.
Earth is still spinning.
Yeah.
It's working out for us, really. But I think, Neil deGrasse Tyson is huge on social media. Like, it's definitely, I think we still have long strides, but I think
it's a very cool time, just like we hit this sort of time a few years ago where all of a sudden it was like, yeah, absolutely, video games are cool and they're for adults. And we were like, oh my God, like there are shows that we can watch. There are people who are doing this. And now, I think sort of nerdier stuff, that more educational stuff is sort of hitting that stride now too, which is great.
Right.
Which is great because, you had this entire generation of people that grew up feeling like outcasts for liking video games and math and engineering and comic books, and now it's like, no, it's ours now. Like, we own all of this. You
Fuck
can't
you,
watch
scientists.
Yeah, you can't watch anything that we don't think is cool.
party's over, scientists.
Yeah. Although, well, not scientists, but party's over. Like, I don't know, terrible 3-camera sitcoms.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Party's over. Like, mindless reality shows for the most part.
Yeah.
There are a few still hanging on, but you know what I mean.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, like it's great where you can like turn on Netflix and everybody's super excited about Daredevil.
Yeah,
or like people are super excited about Cosmos. Like that's the kind of stuff, like nerdy, geeky stuff. Like I'm really glad that's because otherwise I would be unemployed. We all would be.
And you got science right here. This is chemistry right here.
Plague Knight uses chemistry, and it's all 100% legit chemistry. It's fine.
It's a little something that not a lot of people know about science is when you even move into the world like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. Everything still applies.
Everything is
It's all deeply grounded.
Tolkien was
in
very
science.
much like,
Right.
listen, this is all going to be scientifically accurate, or I'm not doing it. Like if an ent is going to walk, they're going to walk at the exact speed that an ent would really walk. And he did a lot of field experimentation on that.
I do.
That
Talking
is
to Star
not
Wars,
true.
I do want to get into Star Wars because
Okay.
you've been doing lots of Star Wars stuff lately. But let's talk about your podcast really quick, just to get it out there, just
Yeah,
to let
sure.
people know what's up.
Yeah, it's called We Have Concerns, and I do it with Jeff Kanata, who you guys are probably familiar with as well because he did Weekend Confirmed, and he does the DLC podcast
Those are two
now.
you guys gabbing away.
Yeah, totally rad show. I think that's the only thing we have on video of the two of us doing the show, which is like our Patreon begging for money video. So that's kind of cool. That's the only...
He doesn't have as many Twitter followers as you, though.
He does not. No, he has about half as many Twitter followers as me. So
Just wanted to
it's
clarify
important that
that.
we keep him at that. Well, no, if
Doing
you go,
the research.
If you go to our site, the We Have Concerns site, and you go to our bio page, like Jeff wrote this like long, serious, actory bio about everything he's done, and mine is one sentence, and it says Anthony has twice as many Twitter followers as you,
Yeah, I
and that's
laughed
it.
really hard at that.
And it's
I enjoyed that.
but it's a show that we do 3 times a week that kind of takes one story that's usually submitted by the audience that's about science or technology or sort of the future of the human condition, and then within 20 minutes we sort of explain the story and then figure out why these stories make us feel the way we feel. So we talk about the science, but then we're also kind of like, why does something like this terrify us? Why am I so frightened by the fact that an octopus has DNA that's nothing like the DNA of anything on Earth? And it's because octopuses, the octopodes, they want to kill us. They want us dead.
Right.
They want to out-evolve us and
if anything
win.
lives in the Pacific Ocean, I would not be surprised. I would kill me too.
Yeah, so it's like a 20-minute podcast where we go into things like that, and we do like improv comedy and sketches and sort of things like that, all off the cuff, like as we read the story to kind of explain it. And it's been a lot of fun.
It's doing very well. It's one of the top, 3, 5, 10
Yeah.
podcasts on
We
iTunes.
we're in Editor's Picks this week. We
Right.
were a Best of 2014 podcast, which was awesome on iTunes, and we're usually within like the top 20 on comedy, which is kind of crazy to like. You'll like some days I look and I'm just like nestled in between like Mark Maron and Aisha Tyler, and I'm just like, oh, okay, sure, yeah.
That's where I've always considered you. Anthony,
Yeah,
actually.
me
That's-
and Hardwick and Pete Holmes, sure,
Yeah.
why not?
But do you like to have your hand in a lot of different things? I mean, do you wish you kind of had just one consistent gig that you could fall back on,
No.
or do you like
No.
trying new stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I was at Revision 3 for such a long time. It was Revision 3, and then Revision 3 turned into Discovery Digital Networks, and I did D News there, and I did Rev 3 Games there, and it was wonderful to go into the office every day and know that it was like every day I get to go into the office and I get to make things with these people. But I love to sort of just have a million things going on. Like, I kind of work better that way, where I'm just sort of flying by the seat of my pants at all times and sort of like, able to kind of take on anything that comes my way.
It seems to be your like modus operandi. Like,
yeah.
like you're not comfortable in.
I like
until that's
working
going on.
more than I like anything else, and it's unhealthy, but it's like the way I am. So I like kind of being a free agent and being able to do all these things and work with so many different people and do so many, like, I'm doing a science thing and I'm doing a Star Wars thing and I'm doing gaming things, and it's just like, yeah, I love all this stuff and I love being involved with all of it, and it's exciting to always be taking on new things and working with new people, and it's been great. It's been great.
We'll
I've
regret
been
being
super
workaholics
lucky.
when we're in like our 70s, but
Will
that's such a long time away, you know?
I'd like to think that by the time regret would set in, I'll just have like full Alzheimer's, like just straight on dementia. And it's like, I won't even worry about like, why is nobody coming to visit me? Why do I have no friends or family? Because
they'll put a camera in the corner on a tripod that's not actually running.
I'll just
but you'll just
vlog.
think
it's
you'll
not
have like
plugged in. It's like that kid who runs the radio station in Wet Hot American Summer.
you'll have the flower vase as a mic and just like
I plan to be Ken Watanabe's character in Inception, where I'm filled with regret, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
And then a young man comes and asks me to be young men together with him again.
Yeah.
That's my fingers crossed. Maybe it'll be Ian.
Yeah, that'll happen.
That's our retirement plan.
We'd be young women together, but yeah.
Yeah.
this
Ian,
is
you would make a great young woman, and I've always wanted to tell you that, but
Thank
I never had
you.
it open.
That means a lot. More than you know.
this is normally the time where we shift attention to the game that we're playing. This is actually the second time that we've played Shovel Knight on GT Live. So I want to talk about it just a little bit, but we got to talk about Star Wars, man.
Yeah,
you've been very involved in Star Wars. You were hosting most of the material that was being produced, in the official. Here's you with, I don't know, some guy in a shirt looks like some Star Wars nerd fan.
Some dude who didn't get the memo about not wearing my outfit that
I know,
day.
seriously. But you're super cool. You got the untucked version. Like this guy's clearly just really uptight.
Whew, man. That was a crazy experience to do.
I was there. I was there for the celebration. It was great.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
fun-
I ran into you. I ran into you at the cantina.
I bugged you
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
I waited till you were off camera.
That was a lot of fun. That was a huge amount of, and then we were not the very first to talk to him after the panel, but we were among the first people to talk to him after they released the Force Awakens trailer, the teaser, and it was just a crazy, crazy year to be involved in Star Wars Celebration.
It still is.
It was wonderful. Yeah, it's a great.
Everything Star Wars, and
it's maybe the best year to be a Star Wars fan since 1977. Maybe.
Like 90, like special edition was pretty cool.
Special edition was great.
Because the early to mid 90s was just like a desert, and then all of a sudden, like you could go into Toys R Us and get like a like Han's blaster.
There was
it was nice.
There was a great moment where I took my little sister to see episode 1, and it was her first Star Wars movie, and we were doing like the midnight line, and it was cool to like be the person who ushered her in, because my older cousin was the guy who got me into the original trilogy. So yeah, that was a cool moment, but there's something about episode 7, man, that just feels like magical.
Well,
Absolutely
I compare hype around Jar Jar to hype around BB-8, and like there's no there's no comparison there, man.
Jar Jar got shorted later on in life. He was a very important government official.
Right.
He was very serious. He was a war hero. Like, Jar Jar is the John McCain of the Star Wars universe.
Well, I am into the concept of Jar Jar.
Sure.
I think somewhere in there is a
the
good
platonic ideal of Jar Jar.
There's a good idea there. This war-driven society. You have this guy who's an outcast. Like, he despite his best efforts, he's always screwing things up.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like teams up with the Jedi, and then he just had a real funky style to him. Like, even before we heard him say a word, like when I first saw a drawing of him, I was like, I love this guy.
It only felt like mildly racist in some ways.
Extremely racist.
Like,
but then he talked, and then everything just fell off the table.
Yeah.
But I mean, just
I mean, but if I was a kid, but I always look at it like, my cousin was older than me, and my cousin is one of those people that was like, oh, the Ewoks ruined the original trilogy. I loved the Ewoks.
I love the Ewoks. Return is my favorite.
Love them.
Yeah.
And so I picture being a 6-year-old and watching Jar Jar and being like, Jar Jar's fine.
Yeah,
Jar
who
Jar's
are you to
fine.
tell that kid that...
There was a lot of other stuff going on around Jar Jar that also was not great. It also was not the greatest. So this is why, 7 feels like a very special moment.
So you're also involved in Force Friday, and you were doing. We were talking about before the show. Actually, we were debating like what was the longest stream ever because you were opening Star Wars toys for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, but Force Friday was nowhere close. Like we did 18 hours, which anybody who does Extra Life or
Right.
Games Done Quick does more than that. Yeah, but it was a long time to be going. It didn't feel like a super short stream, I'll tell you that. But it was fun because it was another thing where, there was part of my mind when you're talking about something like Force Friday where it's like, when it initially came to me, like a tiny part of my brain was like, am I doing like a big commercial for toys?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then the part of me was like, yeah, but are the toys cool?
Yeah.
And if I wasn't doing it, would I be watching it? And I was like, yeah, of course I would. Of course, this is like a big, like kind of a big moment. We were talking about how, what's the reveal gonna be? Because in the original action figures, there were characters that were spoiled that weren't in movies because they were action figures first, and so we were like, something's gonna drop. Something's gonna drop, and we're gonna be the first people to see it. We were the first people to kind of see because we had the Kylo Ren with us. We were the first people to like pull off Kylo Ren's hood and be like, "This is what his helmet looks like." Totally a Vader callback.
Right.
What's going on with Kylo Ren? Like we were able to do things like that. So it was a lot of fun, and it was just cool to be one of the first people in the world with your hands on that stuff. Like just the me that was 6 years old with the first lightsaber toy I ever held was just there the whole time. Like now I'm the first person to touch this, and now I get to touch this, and now I have a Millennium Falcon. Like it was rad.
So there's lots of reasons for Star Wars fans to hate you. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah. They spit on me. They push me a little bit. They neg me.
But just out of curiosity, to for people at home that are interested in getting into hosting potentially. So, did you contact Star Wars? Was that something that did your agent reach out to them? Did this opportunity just kind of pop up and you booked the gig? Like,
yeah, I don't right now. I don't have an agent or a manager, and I never have. And
damn you.
I should probably get one because there is stuff coming in, but there's also stuff where it's like, why didn't I know that was happening? I probably could have submitted myself for that. But no, Star Wars was just one of those things where somebody that I used to work with, Scott Bromley actually, who used to be part of IGN.
Oh, okay.
He was doing producing for Star Wars for their web content, and they were looking for somebody, and so it was just one of those things where it was like, I know a guy who would be great for this.
And you are a Star Wars fan. So this isn't you just like, well, it's another job. You're like, let's do this.
Yeah, of course.
I'm ready.
You can't have been born between the years of 1970 and up to now and not be a Star Wars fan to some.
It's possible.
To some degree. To some degree, But yeah, I was definitely a kid who always had a lightsaber on him.
And you're psyched. Before we talk about Plague Knight for like 3 seconds.
An adult that
always has a lightsaber on him. If you had seen my Snapchat during the live stream, like I was taking things out of the studio that I was not supposed to be taking out of the studio. Like I had full Kylo Ren costume on, and I was running around the YouTube space with my lightsaber, just like whacking random people, kind of like I did in the office here before we started.
You came in and immediately started
Putting
poking
costume-
people.
Yeah, I got booped
You gotta be
You did
careful.
get booped.
multiple times. Take that how you will.
So you said you liked Shovel Knight. You
Knight's
enjoyed
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
I think is one of the best platformers I've played maybe in the last decade. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's just a very finely polished game, and incredible that this is free. Basically, what we're looking at. This is some new areas, but mostly you're playing as this new character. You're going through a side story, if you will. Treading your own ground, but also kind of following the events of what Shovel Knight's doing at the same time.
Yeah, and I think it was amazing of them to kind of tap into how cool we all thought Plague Knight was as a boss.
Yeah, but I mean, Plague Knight. I mean, there were some cool bosses. There were definitely harder bosses in Plague Knight.
Yeah,
like,
but there's something like that moment of first like going in and fighting Plague Knight and being like, this is crazy, and like it's got that very Mega Man feel of like he's throwing these bombs and everything is disintegrating around you, and you've got to kind of manage all of that, and just kind of looking at that and seeing how cool the character was, and they were like, oh, we could make him playable. he could absolutely go through the original.
He just
game.
looks cool. Just
Yeah.
you know, just animates. You know.
Well, I like that whole
well.
plague doctor aesthetic. Like I'm doing the same thing in Darkest Dungeons too. I always love having plague doctors in my lineup just
Yeah.
because they're so creepy looking.
Kyle, what do you think? Why Plague Knight? Why have all of the villains? Have they come out specifically said why they chose this guy?
Yeah, it was a vote. People could vote on the 2 bosses they want.
What was the other boss?
I think it's the one who's got the lancing sword.
Oh, okay.
Propeller Knight. Is that
Yeah.
his name?
Oh yeah.
I think he's the other one. I think, I think it's-
That's
like-
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool because you can already see what they had planned for both when they kind of put that up to a vote based on the boss battles with them. And yeah, I'm glad that Plague Knight won out.
What boss did you hate the most, Kyle? In the original Shovel
The
Knight?
one who can one hit kill you is the one with the ice shovel.
I
the
hate
huge
that guy.
one.
I
Yeah,
hate
he's got
that guy.
spikes.
That ice
Yeah.
fight.
Well, plus like
Like-
ice levels in general, like just the fact that you have to play an ice level to get to him is insult to injury. You know?
Absolutely.
Do you see yourself playing this game again?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
For sure. 100%. I actually, when I walked in and I saw that we were doing this, because we were originally scheduled to do a different game, and then we wound up doing this instead, I was like, oh yes. No shade to the other game, but this is so much better.
What do you guys think? Are you guys gonna? Are you guys getting your taste here and then you're done, or?
Oh, no, I'll be
Brad, you
back.
said you
Yeah.
played a little bit.
I'll be back.
Oh, yeah.
I love Shovel Knight.
I'm ashamed that I haven't finished it already on my own.
It was funny because I was trying to find it on the PlayStation stores. They are playing on my actually they're I might pick up this version of it because they're playing on my PS4 right now.
Oh, right on.
But so I'm like, I got Shovel Knight on there. I'll boot it up. And I'm like in the PlayStation store like looking for Plague of Shadows and like it's just in there. Like you just boot up
yeah,
Shovel
it's just-
Knight
it's
and they're like,
there.
there you go. The update took all of like 5 seconds.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have it. I've got it on PC, and then I had it on 3DS because I had to know how it looked on 3DS.
Right.
Just to see. And
That's what I played
it was
it on,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great, and it was good to have it with me too because it was very. I got very obsessive over it. Very obsessive over it for a couple weeks until I had it all finished. You know, love this game. I was such a huge DuckTales fan that it's like.
Yeah.
And then that DuckTales remasters was so much of a letdown. So disappointing that I was just like, oh, thank God Shovel Knight exists.
Yeah, Shovel Knight was a surprise. The Shovel Knight was just like thank you in so many ways for this game. Yacht
Well,
Club.
it's interesting too, right? Because Way Forward and Yacht Club, like Yacht Club is ex Way Forward, and then Way Forward did release the DuckTales remastered, and then the people who left Way Forward made Shovel Knight, and it's just like, dude, I want to know the story of what happened there. I want to know why these dudes they were like, no, we're not working on this DuckTales garbage. Let's go. We're making a game that is DuckTales but better. Like, I want to know what happened there. I feel like I just came up with it. That's
That
like
should've-
Occam's
yeah.
razor.
Well, that should have been our reviews, just DuckTales but better.
Yeah.
That's a really quick way to do it. We're gonna shift gears. We're gonna talk about the GT countdown really quick. We're gonna do something that I don't think we've done for a couple weeks. We're gonna check in with Ian Hank. We've been skipping over you.
Who would make a
Hi.
wonderful young woman.
Yeah.
What's
thanks.
up, lady?
Not much. How are you doing? How are you guys?
Hey.
How you fellas?
What are you doing after the show, Ian?
Going home and
I like your
eating
cool-
Indian food.
I like your cool Hyperlight Drifter shirt.
Thanks. I got it at PSX.
Whoa.
Ever heard of it?
Ever heard of
Not
it?
a big deal. You heard of it?
It's probably too cool. Don't worry about it.
Ian Hank on controls. How's the TriCaster treating you tonight? Is it
It's
working?
great. It's doing a good job
We're good
tonight.
set? You were just ripping through that Carboni B-roll, man. That was great.
That was
I had a
fun
couple options
B-roll.
for
We
him,
had,
and he was
we had a
on
lot
it.
of
He was
B-roll.
right on it, man.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
used
it.
it
It was
all.
lovely. I liked everything
Thank
you
you.
did.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have some notes after the show.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
You were
Yeah.
able to watch it with a more critical eye.
yeah.
You're not.
That's
You
why
weren't
your
as.
laptop up, you know.
You weren't as close to it, so I feel like I would love to hear those. Later, we can do it later.
Really quick before we hit the midpoint of the show, we're going to talk about our countdown for this week. So every week we do a GT countdown, and we talk about the poor entry that didn't make the countdown that deserves mention, but unfortunately is number 11. This week, in response from last week we did the top 10 anticipated games of fall 2015, which we usually don't do. We do anticipate at the beginning of the year. But there's just so many damn things we were excited about. We're like, let's talk about it. We know people will be interested in that list. And we had to change the list twice because that week, 2 things that were on the list got delayed.
Yeah.
And so we just immediately took them off one list and put them right onto another. The top 10 games that are delayed until 2016 and suck because of that. That we're very, very sad about. I don't know, what is it the top 10 devastating delays of 2016?
Yeah, I believe we wanted to add that little.
That sweet alliteration.
Yeah, that little modifier of.
That's nice.
devastating. That was the Kyle Bosman joint.
Kyle
devastating
Bosman,
delays.
He's
Kyle
distracted.
looks
You
pretty
make a great
devastatingly
young
delayed
woman.
right now.
Kyle,
that was a great idea.
Kyle said this list needs to be more torturous.
So
Can we
so
please
yeah,
turn that into just the normal superlative for the rest of the show? Like anytime somebody says or does something good, you would make an excellent young woman. Can we just do that? Can we agree that that's our thing now for the next 40 minutes?
Sure.
I would love
Yeah.
to be told that.
Okay.
Well, you gotta earn it though, at least.
You gotta earn it like Ian did.
Just, you know what I mean?
I gotta say, it makes it feel less special though for me now.
Yeah, Ian won't take it too kindly if you refer to me as an excellent young woman.
I want to be the only one.
You can't. You know what, man? It's not about that. It's about.
That's true.
about
It's not a
sharing in the
competition.
achievement with
You're gonna
your team.
turn the corner right as he says it to someone else.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well,
He
this,
says it to everyone.
this game was an excellent young woman, but it just didn't make
this
the
game,
list.
yeah. Homefront: The Revolution
Would
is
make an excellent young
an
woman.
excellent young woman. I
know
spent some
about
time
this.
with this lovely young woman just recently.
Don't get
at
creepy
PAX.
with it. Don't get creepy.
Right.
It's a superlative, and we
It
don't
was
get creepy
just
with
right. Well,
superlatives.
see, that's
He
I don't know where that
gotta
line
be
is, Anthony. That's see, like you do so much stuff. You do so much live. You know, you really got to know where that line is. And sadly, I haven't. I got to do maybe another year of G2 Live, and I'll figure that out. Maybe I should move on and just address it strictly as a game because it is a game. I love open world games. I love. I didn't play the first Homefront, but loved what I played.
That's
at
the one where
PAX.
you press X to hide in bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first Homefront is the one. It's because it's the alternate universe Korean War thing, right? Where the Koreans won the war, and then they're in the early part of the game. Like the biggest thing that people mentioned was there is a moment where you press X to hide in a pile of corpses so they
Nice.
don't see you. And I think that was like the most memorable thing from Homefront. I can't remember a single other thing from that game.
Well, one thing that I was nervous about when I played it at PAX was they had a motorcycle in a first-person open world game.
Okay.
And but you're like in the city, like in Far Cry works, there's just hills and you can go off the road into the forest if you want to. But like in a city, especially post-apocalyptic, where there's just like a car in the middle of the road, or war-torn, I guess. Not
Were you worried
post-apocalyptic, but
about how it was gonna feel
just
or
that
how it
wouldn't
was gonna
handle-
look?
I was just gonna drive right into a wall over and over and over again, and like controlled great, like really. And like it was open world. And I had a specific objective, and I was gonna be nervous. Like I was gonna have to like grab a dev and be like, "Where am I supposed to go? What am I doing?" And like found it really easily. Like had 5 minutes left to burn, and just like found a random patrol, like lit them all on fire with a Molotov, and was shooting guys from like rooftops.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
I enjoyed it. I had a
Video
good time.
games.
Yeah, video games.
Yeah.
Shoot people. Yeah. But didn't make the list, unfortunately. So we have 10 hot games that we thought we were gonna get. We were told we were going to get in 2015, but they were being bumped to 2016. One game that came up that I'm not going to say it is on the list or not on the list, but we were talking a little bit about Star Fox before the show started.
Yes.
And I said that I was a fan of Star Fox, and you were offended by that.
I'm not
You were
offended.
insulted.
I'm not insulted or offended by
It's like
somebody
I poured
being
hot
a fan.
coffee on your face.
Well, my mother was an Andros, so no. Here's the thing. As soon as the morning that the delay got announced, a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe Nintendo's doing this. Nintendo's destroying themselves." And I tweeted out that I think anybody who was super surprised by the delay probably hadn't played the demo of Star Fox at trade shows, because while I didn't find it to be a bad demo, it wasn't something that grabbed me. That sort of feeling of Nintendo magic wasn't really there. It felt I was gonna fly through some rings and I was gonna shoot some stuff, and it looked like Star Fox, and that's great because I like Star Fox. But I think Nintendo felt the same thing that I think a lot of people that played the demo did, which is I think we're leaning too much on what people expect from a Star Fox game. We're leaning too much on the IP. We're leaning too much on nostalgia, and we need to sort of take this thing back down. We need to strip it back down and rebuild it into something that's actually going to be
Fun.
It just wasn't. There wasn't a lot of fun there. Once I was like, okay, I'm used to the fact that I'm playing a next gen Star Fox now.
Right.
Which is the same way I felt about the GameCube one, where I was kind of like, wow, this looks beautiful, and then I was like, and I'm flying through rings, and it's great. Okay, like whatever. Like I think Star Fox is not a franchise that they have iterated on as well as some of their other franchises.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, something like Tropical Freeze was like almost up for like Game of the Year last year. I mean, like that was
surprised me.
That was an incredible,
super surprised me.
incredible game. Yeah.
Yeah, and you even look at you look at Mario Maker,
Yeah.
which is one of my top games of the year. It's just filled with all this magic. It was such a brilliant, obvious, like, this is clearly where we have to go with Mario.
It's good that you bring up Mario Maker, actually, because one of my favorite things about Mario Maker is it's like finally a game that not only makes good use of the pad, but couldn't exist if you had that. Like,
Yes.
How annoying would that game be if you had to, like, you know, with a D-pad, position everything, and then swap through items with the shoulder buttons, and you know, or like,
Yeah.
you know, or just I love Disney Infinity, but like it's cumbersome to try to line things up in 3D and move, and like you just build levels so fast with that pad.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So
And
that's
and it's great that they finally have something that's compelling, because even there are a lot of Wii U games that I absolutely love. Like Splatoon is also like another one of my games of the year, probably. And there's just not a lot of reason for that giant controller.
Right.
There's just not a lot of reason.
But there is a
it.
reason for that giant controller to bring it back.
Yeah.
In Star Fox. Because
on.
you got that camera, which I dig. If you're in cutscenes, like if you're watching the TV and you see, you know, Slippy and, you know, Fox and Falco and they're all like flying around, you can actually like look at them with the pad. Like you're always in the cockpit with that pad.
Yeah.
And Daniel Bloodworth came back from E3 and was like, Star Fox. I was really impressed. And I was like, what? No. And so like I went in with pretty low expectations at PAX. Maybe that was it. Maybe I was just like, this is gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I'm actually like enjoying myself. Like,
Yeah, and I think something like that where you can look around and
Yeah.
see your team is a lovely addition.
Yes.
And it certainly makes holding the pad not as annoying as holding the pad would be, but
Right.
it's not like Mario Maker where it's like, oh, you need this to make
Correct,
the game work.
yeah.
It's just like kind of
And
like,
you're-
oh, cool, I can see a frog.
And you're also still flying through rings. So one game that is not being delayed, hopefully, is still slated to come out this year, is Rise of the Tomb Raider, which has not had a ton of trailers actually.
No.
Like there hasn't been a lot of opportunities. There's this awesome, you know, bear fighting cave exploring
Yeah.
demo from E3 that
There's been
we've
a
seen
couple
resurface.
demos.
We actually have a preview that is being produced today that will be going up tomorrow from a recent event that we went to go check out Rise of the Tomb Raider. And they had a badass trailer this week, and you should check it out.
What makes someone reach beyond the boundaries of human experience? To face the unknown. As children, we question the world around us. We learn. We accept. And gradually, we lose our capacity for wonder. But some do not. The explorers, the seekers of truth. It is these pioneers who define the future of mankind.
Did you see the tombs?
So many more tombs!
Did you see the rating?
So much more rating. That the thing in the middle where there's the like the model solar system or whatever that astronomy style room was that she was in, where she's clearly trying to line things up and solve
You
it.
do science shows, Anthony. You should know the terms. Come on. I
I don't know what the name of it is when it's in a giant puzzle room where you're trying to get to like a jade monkey paw or something. I don't know what it's called then, but but it was like because it also clearly wasn't our solar system, which is why I didn't want to, So, but there was something that felt like Tomb Raider to me.
Yeah.
The first one had a couple of those, and the first one was one of my favorite games of a couple years ago. It was like on my Game of the Year list that year, but it was missing that stuff. There were only a couple actual tombs. There was like that tomb where you made a thing float down a river and
Right.
it opened a gate and that was it, and it was like towards the beginning, and then there was
Yeah.
one towards the end.
That's why I felt really bad, because there was just like one thing you had to figure out.
Yeah.
And when even that would like stump me, I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's only one puzzle in this freaking
You're
tomb,
mostly
and I
just
can't
blowing
figure it
up
out.
boxes of dynamite.
Yeah,
That's
it
like
was
it.
missing, like, you remember that, was it in the first or the second one, where it's that room of the Norse gods and you've got to get Thor to like swing his hammer
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
avoid
That's
it.
the first one, yeah.
That's the first one. That was such a moment, and there just wasn't a moment. Like, I think they tried to make one out of the bells in the monastery at the end, and it didn't make it for me. So like,
Yeah.
I love the look of that game. So much more rating, so many more tombs.
But you think it'd be false advertising with that first game, but now
think so?
now they're finally owning up to it.
I'm very excited for it. Very excited for it.
You're hyped about lots of things. So so I see you and J.J. Abrams, you know, on the interwebs talking
Sure.
about Star Wars. You know, I
Yeah.
see you hosting stuff like this, and I gotta wonder. Do you like Star Wars? And I know you do, but I gotta wonder. You know, watching it, it's like, is Anthony like legitimately just freaking out about this movie, or you know, he's a host, he's paid to be there, he's paid to be enthusiastic. Do you need to be at least have a base understanding of, you know, the projects that you're working on enough to be, you know, have just kind of like a modicum of enthusiasm, you know, so you don't have to
I'm
fake
definitely
it, or
more-
can you just totally fake it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely more qualified to talk about Star Wars than I am to talk about science. If you know, like.
But that's kind of the point
But
of the
I do
show, is that you
both,
don't
yeah.
claim to be a science expert on that show.
Yeah, I think you know, I'm in a good position now where I think towards the beginning of my career, I had to take a lot of things that I wasn't necessarily as naturally excited about. And
Joe
that-
Millionaire 2.
Yeah, sure. Like, that was not easy for me.
No.
You know, Beauty and the Geek season
Yeah.
17 was not easy for me. You know, no, I think, you know, it is your job to bring an excitement to the thing and to find the cool thing about whatever it is that you're hosting. You know, even if you're not a fan of whatever it is that you're hosting, it's your job to understand that you are hosting something for a community of people that do find it super exciting, and it's your job to find what is exciting about it for them and to kind of like mine that. I tend to only take things that I like now, you know, which is great, or things that I naturally have an interest in. But yeah, I don't think you can be a good host if you can't make sort of the more mundane things exciting. You know, you even think about something like the Tonight Show, or you know, the Daily Show, or something where it's like you've got to do this every day. And some days you're going to be talking to people that you're less excited about than other days, or some days your writers are going to bring a thing to you where you're like, I don't know that this is super funny, but it's my job to trust my writers and to go at this with as much energy and excitement as I'm supposed to. It's my job.
Right.
It's my job to do it. But yeah, I think I've lucked out over the last couple of years where I've only had to do things that I'm super excited about.
So are you the one on the phone that is just telling someone like, hey, this is a great opportunity, thank you for considering me, thank you for the offer, but I just don't think I'm the right person for this? Or
Yeah, which is
how do you let someone down easy?
Yeah, you sort of let them know that. I mean, because it's not about when you're talking to people about hosting something. Like, there are people that are excited about it, right? But then there are the people who do the hiring and the firing and handle the money and the management aren't necessarily the people who are the most excited, right? So, I mean, they don't tend to take it as personally. And also, you know, you can always let people know, like, I like you guys and I like working with you and you guys are super fun, but I think this one is probably not for me. And the other great thing is, like, that always puts me in a place where I can recommend friends who are better suited, you know, because I have a lot of friends who do the same thing, who are on camera and who like similar things, you know. And so it's always nice when you can be like, no, but I know the person that's right for this.
You mentioned
for you.
before, you know, with Star Wars, that kind of popped up to one of your friends, and they were like, "Oh, I know the perfect person."
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's how, you know, it's just like any other gig. You know, I think a lot of people think that there's a lot of competition, and there kind of is in the hosting community, because there are only so many things to do on camera, right? But I think the people who do the best are the people who do only take the things that kind of excite them and fit with who they are, and are the people who help their friends who are in similar positions, you know. And that's, you know, because I'll I'll be like, hey, this guy's perfect for this job. And then 6 months later, he'll, be in the running for something and he'll defer to me, or she'll defer to me. Like, that's just the way it works. You have to be that way.
So you're going into Star Wars.
You're going
to interview these people. Mm-hmm. How much do you kind of do like a 50-50 with like, I'm going to prepare these questions ahead of time so I have stuff, but then I don't know, I haven't seen this trailer yet. There could be crazy announcements that happen. There could be stuff that just happens in the booth.
The Star Wars stuff.
What's the ratio of like preparation to spontaneity?
Well, it's funny because I do things like Star Wars Celebration or like even E3 when I do E3 for PlayStation. There's a lot of stuff that's secret right up until like right up until like there was a moment when I walked by the wrong door and I saw something that sort of let me know that something was coming during that press conference this year. And I freaked out, but nobody would admit to it or tell me about it.
Right.
Or, like, you know what I mean? It's all very locked down. So with Star Wars Celebration, no, there was no time to prepare. But also, at the same time, when you're interviewing somebody like JJ or you're interviewing Kathleen Kennedy, there's certain things that you're just not allowed to ask them.
Sure.
And those things beforehand. Those things you do know. Like, you'll get a list that's like, hey, by the way, you can't ask Kathleen Kennedy about this, this, or this, and you can't ask JJ about this, this, or this, and, you can't let the interview run longer than this. You know what I mean? So you kind of get the... you don't get the list of questions beforehand. You don't get to do a lot of preparation, but you do get to know what will get you fired, which is more useful in a lot of ways.
You gave me this really long list before the
show.
I thought it was interesting.
I have a lot of things that are off limits. A lot of things that are off limits.
Well, we wanted to continue this conversation, but I've hit the limit. I can't.
That's it.
There's nothing officially.
There's
legally
nothing
I can
left to talk
about
except my legal record, and all of that is off limits.
So you got the list also, Elyse, before the show. So you've cross-referenced that with questions that we've gotten from the community. Unfortunately, you haven't had to say no to a lot of people asking questions, looking for codes.
I did, though. There are a lot of weird questions, which
Yes.
makes me wonder what you're doing.
Oh, I bet we got some inside jokes.
Oh, a lot of inside
I bet
jokes.
we got some podcast listeners. What's up, concerned citizens?
I'm always in the position where I'm like, this seems like an inside joke, but I don't know if it's offensive.
How
or
many
if it's
Alan?
something...
How many Alan Wake questions?
A lot
are there?
of Alan Wake. A lot of Alan Wake questions.
We got some Alan Wake love in the
I'll
house,
just say,
right?
Brad Gren said, ask Anthony if he wants to star in a gritty reboot of the Bloodhound Gang or MathNet. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Ooh, that's good. The Bloodhound Gang and MathNet were both part of 321 Contact.
Okay, there
and
you go.
they were things like, and it was kind of like a thing like Morgan Freeman's Easy Reader, where Morgan Freeman's Easy Reader was sort of a Shaft streetwise detective thing. MathNet was Dragnet.
Yeah.
But it was all math-related crimes. Yeah.
His name is Tuesday, right?
It was Tuesday, yeah.
I like
There you go.
MathNet.
You'd make an excellent young woman. MathNet. I'm going to go MathNet. I'd like to wear a suit. I don't get to
Perfect.
wear a suit. That's one thing we don't get to do.
And you don't
When-
have to solve
Ian,
math-related crimes.
if you're curious, that is a set that is being constructed across the hallway from
okay.
the GT Live stage.
I was thinking maybe you guys had Wendigos.
Yeah, I was like, there's like
We have
sirens.
We have Wendigos, but they usually don't come out until like 10 or 11.
Yeah, that's why I was
Yeah.
like, that's real early riser for a Wendigo.
Maybe he partied pretty hard last night. He's on his way to the bathroom.
Could have been a
he's like,
banshee.
Yeah, could have been a banshee. Yeah. There's all sorts of fun noises. They soundproof the room as much as they could, but
My favorite is the MRI that we're directly
oh, that's great.
above.
Yeah, no, we're right above all sorts of medical equipment.
Open MRI?
Uh,
Or the tunnel MRI?
I think it's a tunnel.
I
Tunnel
haven't
MRI.
been
Those
in
are
it
louder.
myself.
The funny thing is, like, when we first moved in here, they were like, "Oh, don't worry, we had it checked for radiation." I'm like, it's
I wasn't
magnets.
worried until you told me.
Well, it's just an MRI. There's no radiation from an MRI. It's magnets. Whatever.
That's one of those things where it's like, oh man, no, don't worry about that stain on the carpet. That's
Yeah.
super not anything from a dead body. Like, that's like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, that's not something that would have occurred to me, and it was also super
We
specific.
totally cleaned your hotel room.
Yeah. Wink. Look, we put plastic on everything
Right.
with a little note that says we cleaned it.
Right.
That's how you know it's clean. That's the paper thing that goes around the toilet seat that's like, don't worry, it's clean. And it's like, I don't know, I'd rather smell cleaning products
Than see a piece of paper.
than see a piece of paper that reassures
We're
me.
not giving codes to Wendigos. What are more questions?
Oh, you guys want more questions?
Elise Willems.
know when to go
Elise,
loud.
Elise Willems has a hard out at 7, don't you, Elise?
I do, but I mean,
You're
you guys can go on
You're
without
at
me.
7:01. You were taking the at top.
I'm taking
You're out.
the
Destroying.
table with me.
The whole thing.
Smashing it.
I guess this is a question for everyone. From Carl Carlston, how do you feel about the possible voice actor strike? I don't know if you've heard about this much.
Yes. This probably, I mean, this is something that hits a little closer to you're a voice guy.
I don't like
guy.
voice actors really. I kind of they're a despicable bunch. They're not personal at all.
It insists
They're just
upon
egos
itself.
across the board. They each and every one of them insist upon themselves.
Terrible. Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're doing. They're insisting upon themselves. And I mean, nobody. Was that me or something else? Did I make it funny? Was
No,
that?
you made the funny.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, they want to make a living with this. You know what I mean? It's like it's not easy making a living as a voice actor or as a host. You know, or like getting these gigs and you get a big gig and you want it to last. And a lot of people in the industry are bringing up really good points. So they're like this, just because you're looking at the format of how things are done in film, that's not necessarily how they should be done in games or how television is done. Or like each medium is totally different. Each project is totally different. Even just within console, like a PC game versus a console game, they're totally different. So
yeah, and I mean, I've been talking to some friends who do it, and one of the things that's roughest for them right now is because the union is done in such a traditional way. Like you look at like most games right now, like there are more games coming out that are smaller budget, mid-budget games than there are big budget games. But if you're part of the union, you are precluded from working on any of these smaller, more interesting games that could help you pay your rent.
Right.
Because you've got to fight with Nolan North for every job.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And even if you beat him, he might come back and take it from you later. So
Yeah, exactly. It's either him or Troy.
Right.
Like they will take turns taking your job, basically. But like that aside, it's people have to be able to work, and unions are not made to limit people from working. They're
Right.
made to make sure that people can work under fair conditions. And if the rules of the union are stopping people from paying their rent, then the unions either need to collapse or be ratified. I don't know. Are you a union? Are you a union
No.
voice actor guy? Because I
No.
know you do VO stuff.
And it's tough because it's like it's not that there is a happy medium somewhere, but it's like when you actually get to the negotiations table, like the offer that not the actress side but the other side made was just ridiculous. Like the things they were saying was like one was like we can fine you $250 for like not paying attention or something. It was
Yeah.
like if we get a sense that you're not focused on us, they're boom, you fined. If you get stuck in traffic for no reason because it rains in LA and they close the 710 and you're late, $250 fine. Boom.
Yeah, a union shouldn't be like one of those weird places that makes you pay like pay to list your garbage to sell. You know what I mean?
so
Like
it's
they're
just
not
the-
supposed to be a gateway that keeps you from work.
So the actual offers on the table on both sides are not realistic at this point, and so that's why it's just tough because it's like that's how you got to play that game. You got to say like I'm going to pitch this. There's no way you're going to get it, and then you're going to fight tooth and nail to bring it down to here, and then that's what
we're just going to go back to poorly translated text for everything. We're going to go late 80s, early 90s style.
I mean,
no more voices. Or if they are voices, they're going to be like voices in 16-bit games where they had to use a special chip to put them in where it's like welcome to your doom.
Yeah, exactly. Like the first Wolfenstein, you couldn't even understand like the word that they were saying.
It's like,
Exactly.
is that German?
Nah.
They're Nazis. Is it German? I don't know.
But yeah, it's tough, and everyone's hopefully the actors come out ahead.
Yeah, I can't believe that they don't get like back end residuals on their work.
But it's tough because a lot of people, a lot of television is produced that way where
Yeah.
people don't get residuals. So
nuts.
it's
Yeah, I think people think that TV and movie deals are in general way better than they are.
Yeah.
Normally, I think people have these ideas that it's like everybody on TV is getting residuals. It's like that really doesn't happen very often.
Nope.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is from Twitchikins. What scientific discovery, known or unknown, terrifies you the most for the future of humanity, and why is it sentient octopuses, aka aliens?
It's sentient octopuses, man. Like you know it. You know that they's aliens. They is aliens. So there was a thing a couple weeks ago, and we did this in one of our live episodes from PAX, but we sequenced the octopus genome, which is sort of like, I don't know, it's like an event horizon. It's like opening that warp gate. Like, we got to do it, right? Like, we got to do it. It's the new technology. Like, we have to. We're compelled to. But when we sequenced the octopus genome, we found out that the octopus genome, the genes have the ability to jump around. Like, whereas in the human genome, we know where everything is, and things are sort of closely related. Things are grouped together. You have straight hair, and you also have brown hair.
Right.
Okay? Those are grouped together in your genome. We know where to find those. With an octopus, that could be anywhere. They can move their DNA around like that. And they have active camouflage, and there's that video of them escaping from a jar.
I know, I was just saying
It's
that.
not
Yeah, I know.
cool.
He slips out
They're
the side of
not
the
cool.
boat.
All
don't trust that.
cephalopods want us dead. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is.
Maybe the time of the cephalopod is upon us.
It will be. It will be, and you better ingratiate yourself to a cephalopod. So hopefully,
cephalopocalypse?
yes.
I've seen enough anime. Thank you very much.
Yeah, ingratiating yourself to a cephalopod is not pleasant. Not pleasant if Japan has taught us anything.
I'm just searching for cephalopocalypse.com. I just want to
Cephalopocalypse.
I just want to make sure.
Over under on it being like
ask him another question. Carry amongst
over
yourself.
under on cephalopocalypse being a weird hentai site.
Yeah, this is from TFO Kush. What is your favorite tech innovation in the last 10 years?
Oh man, my favorite tech innovation. Like, are we talking consumer tech? Are we talking?
I guess it could be anything
Professional-
you want. If it's Vive or if it's
You know, we're
something
making.
consumer,
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna talk consumer technology, I really do feel like VR is going to be a cool thing. It's not going to. I don't think it's going to be as cool for games as we think it's going to be. I think it's going to be cool in a lot of in a myriad ways that we don't understand yet. Like, it's really going to turn into a new sort of entertainment on sort of the military or medical tech side. Like, there's so much being done right now with mental control of things like prosthetic limbs and bionics. That's going to sort of change human life forever in the next 30 years, where not just amputees who can like get a prosthetic arm now and move it with their mind, but also things where we're going to be able to use assistive technologies, things like even power suits or exosuits in the field for rescue or military stuff, where it's like, now I can walk 50 miles and not get tired, or now I can run 30 miles an hour. Like, all of that stuff where we're able to control it through a brain interface is really, really fascinating to me.
And it's
I want a mech suit.
right.
I'm just like, if you want to take everything that I just pontificated about in like a garbage way and just melt it down into what I just want to sit in a YF-21 like this and just control the missiles with my mind. And that's where we're heading.
I
To
want a
fight the
robot body.
octopodes.
I want a robot body real bad.
Yeah, right, dude?
I want to get to when I'm like 98 and about to die, and then I'm like, put me in a hot lady robot body. I'll live forever. It'll be the
Yep,
best.
you would make a hot lady robot. You would.
Important thing though, it needs to be a move, not a copy.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The thing that can't degenerate, the only thing that we can't allow to degenerate is the brain. Because we're going to be able to put anything into a robot body, and then that's cool. I'll live forever. I don't care about any of the Superman comics where Metallo is just like, I don't have emotions anymore, and I don't understand my actions because I can't feel. Nah, I'm going to be a robot. I'm going to be a robot, and I'm not going to care about anything. But when your brain degenerates, there's this whole idea where it's like, oh, I'm going to copy my brain or move my brain. But moving files is copying then deleting.
Right.
So it's like, nah, dude, you're gonna die. There's no stopping that. There's no stopping. And then there's just some you who gets like some other you who gets the benefit of everything you work towards your entire life and just gets to sit there like a trust fund kid in your own body.
Yeah.
That guy sucks.
That guy sucks. He would not make an excellent young woman.
Yeah. You gotta
Smug
cut the
old
brain
Ken
out and move
Watanabe.
it. Yeah.
This is.
I'm just picturing sexy Robo Ian. I'm just like, Ian? You're like,
Who is it? How can we stop picturing sexy Robo Ian now?
You'd never see me, Brandon. You would see me coming.
This is from Genius Envy. They want to know what sci-fi movie you do not like. Is there a certain sci-fi movie? It could be one that's really beloved and popular.
No,
that just irks
Equilibrium
you.
is garbage.
You heard
Equilibrium's
it
a
here first,
garbage
folks.
movie.
But the puppy.
Yeah. Oh god, the thing where he's just staring at that puppy and he's like, I can't let him know I'm feeling feelings about this. That movie was written by like a brilliant 17-year-old. You know what I mean? Like a 17-year-old who was just the best in his AP creative writing class.
But didn't you just have Equilibrium figured out in the first 2 minutes? I mean, like I saw that movie and was like, oh, it's one of these movies. Okay, cool.
It was blue, and Sean Bean died again, and like gun katas are kind of an all right idea, but they didn't go into gun katas enough, and they went into this weird drug too much, and it was like, I get it. I've read 1984. I've read Brave New World. Like, it's cool. Every teenager has. Equilibrium's a garbage movie. There.
It's just not many movies have gun slap fights.
Yeah.
It's just, and like.
If I would love for
that.
somebody
it's like nope, the fight. Just like, you're not shooting me there. You're not shooting me there.
I would love for somebody to take the idea of the gun kata and just steal it whole cloth and put it into a better movie.
Sort of John Wick. Sort of.
Oh, John Wick, sort of. Yeah.
John Wick rules.
John Wick is rad.
John Wick's a great movie.
So should you see Equilibrium and then John Wick, or just don't see Equilibrium?
You don't have to see Equilibrium to follow John Wick, but you should probably watch it first.
Equilibrium has been haunting me on on-demand video for a really long time. Dude. Like every time Equilibrium comes by, I'm like, no.
Have you seen it before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, then don't watch it. Why is it even haunting
Just
you?
watch Gattaca.
Did you just say fuck Gattaca?
No, I said watch Gattaca.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
Gattaca is one of the best movies ever
Gattaca
made.
is one of the most underrated sci-fi movies ever. It's so much more relevant
What's your
now.
number?
Yeah.
That's my Jude Law.
What's your number?
What's your number?
Yeah.
What's Titan like this kind of year, or this time of year? Oh, it's so good, and it's so much more relevant now than it was when it was made. So much more. It's so good.
And it's funny. It's like one of those things. Gattaca's one of those movies where they're like, wouldn't that be terrifying if you could totally control like everything about your child? I'm like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I missed the boat on being scared of the concept of Gattaca, but yay, let's do it.
Well, I mean, the thing that gets scary about that is like, is this a thing that only some people can afford? Mm-hmm. And then whatever the ideal of attractive is, or whatever the ideal of what the peak of physical shape is, can only rich people have that, and then what happens to the rest of us? Like, that's the problem with something like Gattaca, right? But at the same time, like, if I could choose my baby, I'd super do it.
Yeah.
You'd have an Ian daughter.
I would I would have a daughter that was just like you, Ian.
Thank you.
If I could choose anything for my daughter, it
I'd
would
be
to
so
just
jealous
like
of
you.
her.
That sounds great, Anthony.
At least you're fine. You're fine.
Hey, wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you read Nowhere Men?
Nowhere Man?
Nowhere Men.
Nowhere Men. No, I haven't read it.
It's a comic by Image. You'd love it. It's
I
about,
love
like,
everything Image.
Yeah, it's about like crazy scientists, like super scientists. It's like they're like, what if instead of the Beatles, it was scientists?
I've heard about this. Somebody told me about this, and it sounded amazing.
It's awesome, and the design is awesome.
I'm going through Black Science right now, and once I'm caught up on that, and I just finished Alex and Ada. Alex and Ada is one of my favorite comics of the last 20 years. That's an Image comic about a guy whose rich grandmother buys him like a sex bot, like a girlfriend bot, but he feels like guilty, like he can't use it. He's just like, that's weird. And then he finds out that like all robots have an AI limiter, like a governor on them, like a golf cart, where you can like pull the governor out and they become like full on artificially intelligent people. But it's illegal. And there's this whole thing because he has like a mind implant that lets him get like text messages in his brain and open his door. It becomes like a whole discussion of like which one of them is more human and who should really be allowed. It's so good. It's so good.
Cool. All right.
Everything Image does right now is so good.
Have you seen Humans? Have you seen Humans? Humans?
You're not getting codes, Ian. Stop it.
Yeah, it feels like a post-show conversation.
You should watch.
We have
Humans,
Elyse for 3 more minutes.
All right. 3 more minutes and then she's got to go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a very inflammatory question.
It's about time.
This is from Rick and Robo. Ask Anthony about his opinions on Final Fantasy VII before he leaves, please. He has strong opinions.
There is a video that is on GameSpot.com.
Never been there.
Part of the CBS Interactive family.
Right.
I did a panel at PAX with Danny O'Dwyer, who moderated, and it was what game does your favorite game sucks? What is the game that everybody loves that you think is terrible? And mine is Final Fantasy VII. That is a garbage game for garbage people. That is an
Can we get a shot of the garbage people, please, Ian?
Yeah, can we just cut to the couch for the there they are. There they are, everybody.
People.
There they go.
There they are.
It is like 6 all over again, but the gameplay is not as good. The magic system is not as good, and It's just the most boring, overdone, overwrought story I've ever heard. Fine, it's the first game where, oh no, Eris died. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I didn't care about her because the game is garbage. It's a garbage game. It was mostly popular because it was flaunting technology that we had never seen before. It was using things like, oh my gosh, it just went from a cutscene into a game, and like it's all 3D and it looks the same and it's seamless, and that's fine. And I appreciate that, and it was a wonderful leap forward for technology. It's just not a good game. The best Final Fantasy game on the PS1 is Final Fantasy IX, but it's still not as good as 6. The end.
I hope you enjoyed your first and last time on GT Live.
Hello,
Anthony.
everyone!
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like
I love it.
I have a lot of issues with FF7, and like I wanted to this become a conversation, but you, I mean,
I
got nothing to say. After
I was
that.
actually afraid when I went up to give my speech about it that the whole room would turn on me and kill me.
Isn't that the point of the panel?
But I actually wound up winning. More people in the room agreed with me than with anybody else. And so I feel comfortable. I think you can come out now. It's safe. There's been enough time. Enough time has passed. You can share your true feelings on Final Fantasy.
Because that's no one's done that on the internet before.
No one's done
Everyone's
that.
just been
certainly not
shackled.
5,000 words
Everyone's
message
anti-
board.
This one Final Fantasy game opinions have been unheard until this moment.
Also, the best one of last generation is 10-2. What's up? 10-2 is the best.
I mean,
Dress Spheres is the best system.
You bring up a good point in that when are we going to get a not MMO, not multiplayer, but a single player Final Fantasy job switching game? That's not Bravely Default.
What's up?
You know what I mean?
When's it going to happen?
I think that's one of the best things about 10-2 is
10-2 is
it still holds
amazing.
that. It's like that and 5. That's
and
it.
it's just the combat is so much more fast-paced.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so good. 10-2 is so
But the
underrated.
thing, here's why you can get away with it. Is because you weren't making fun of Final Fantasy. You were isolating one game out of the experience.
Yes.
And in that process, focusing on other games. I like FF6, I like FF9.
And I'm not, a lot of people were like, hey man, it's a game that was very important to me and to my life, and it came at a really important time for me, and I don't want to take that from anybody. I've got games like that too that are garbage.
You're right.
I like a lot of garbage games because I grew up with them. Garbage games, garbage movies, garbage books. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, they're important to you personally, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy VII's bad. It's a bad game.
I think people are
have to end on that note, right?
Well, I have one last question.
Okay, one last question, and then you're out.
This is from Big Cat 4848. Do you like the game Paper Mario Thousand Year Door?
We talked about GameCube a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I do. I probably, if I went back and played it now, I wouldn't like it as much as I did then. But I like the writing in all of the Mario RPG games. I think it's like really funny and tongue-in-cheek, and they're all really, really done in a really cute way. And I also enjoy the combat systems where you get bonuses based on timing and sort of like a little bit of action and paying attention, so it's not just menu-based. So I really and I love it because it has the wonderful art direction that a good Nintendo game has. You know, where it used the GameCube just kind of like perfectly, where you're just like, oh, that's a lovely game. That's exactly the sort of game the GameCube was made for. And I also like the whole idea of like Luigi was doing his own RPG the whole time that you just never got to see and nobody cared about. But he's like, no, dude, I'm like super saving people over here, bro. And you're just like, I don't care about you, Luigi. Nobody cares about your journey. But I do. I care about Luigi deeply.
Better than Super Paper Mario,
Up Luigi,
too.
down with FF7.
Thank you. Yes. If you take anything away.
I personally think like a lot of people are afraid to share a dissenting opinion about a game, especially one that's so like universally popular. Because I like a lot of shitty games too, and get ridiculed for it.
Do you know what's a good way to do it? At PAX in front of hundreds of people.
Yeah.
That's like I think that's probably the best way.
Look, I wasn't even like a big PlayStation. I was a huge Sega Saturn guy. That's a system with a garbage library full of garbage games that I still have and I love. And like, you know, that's just the way it is. You have things that are personally important to you. Final Fantasy VII is trash. It's fine.
Just as long as we get that word in.
Yeah.
Just make sure when I wrap the entire show up, just slip that in right at the end. I'm just going to talk about stuff around GT, and then we're done. Okay? I'm not hold you any longer than that. Okay?
Yeah. Let's just wrap.
Really quick, I'm
going
to talk about stuff that's on game trailers this week.
Yeah, do it.
That you should check out. That everybody should check out. We talked about the top 10 devastating delays games pushed to 2016. If you like previews or reviews, you have come to the right place. We have a preview for Assassin's Creed Syndicate going up tomorrow, Rise of the Tomb Raider going up tomorrow, maybe today, or we're finishing today. I am reviewing Lego Dimensions as soon as humanly possible. We have a preview of the Halo 5 campaign, which is already up, correct? Yes? Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
I was assuming that they were listening to what I was saying, but that was my mistake.
They're like specking out their Plague Knight right now, dude.
Persona 4 Dancing All Night, we reviewed the hell out of that game. Triforce Heroes, you produced a video, 7 things that you should know about that game.
because that game's coming out and nobody cares about it.
I care.
You care about it.
I care.
Kyle doesn't.
Link makes an excellent young woman.
He does.
He really does. He really does.
Too good of a young woman. I reviewed Soma earlier in the week. I definitely recommend playing it. Some of the stuff we were talking about tonight
Yes.
happens in Soma. Some of the science issues we were debating. It's a thinking man's first-person game, or a thinking woman's, or a thinking lovely young woman's.
Thinking lovely young woman.
Tabletop Adventures Season 1 wrapped up this week, yo. That
It's
happened today.
crazy.
That's a thing. Is that up yet?
It's exported. I have to put it on the FTP.
Tabletop Season 1 wrapping up, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, don't miss that this week.
Emotional conclusion.
And of course, you know, them other shows, Mr. Final Bosman Show, Mandatory Update, Huber Hype G2 Time, the Bosman Hour. All of those are happening this week. Tomorrow, speaking of Soma, Mr. Mike Huber and Elyse Willems are going to sit down and play themselves some Soma. And Friday, Ben Morse playing Yakuza, is doing a long play of Yakuza 4.
Yakuza.
Good for you. Good for you.
He's not
That's
here.
But
he'll hear that.
tell him.
I was like, who's doing it?
All of
He's
you,
a good
everybody,
man.
Yakuza, everyone.
He's a lovely young woman, whoever's doing that.
And immediately after the stream, Mr. Brad Ellis is playing the greatest
Fantasy
Final Fantasy game ever.
VII.
Egg on your face, huh?
Not really.
So,
Not really.
So if you want to see just
Know
exactly
that I'm
how
watching
bad
with
that game
disdain
is,
the entire time.
yeah. If you want to see what Mr. Carboni's talking about, don't go anywhere and jump. You know, we will jump right back on. Not in this room, in our capture room. And that is it. That is material you can check out on GT this week. Is there anything that Mr. Anthony Carboni is doing like right this minute that you want people to know about?
Yeah, totally. The podcast is wehaveconcerns.com. That's every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's a bunch of new videos on my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/acarboni. And of course, the TV show is October 4th. If you have cable and you live in the United States, please watch it. That's on the Weather Channel. It's Sundays at 9 p.m.
Yeah, we had a question from someone asking if there's a way to watch it internationally. Is there? No. There you have it.
Television. How does it work?
Hashtag.
No, I'm hoping to hear more about streaming and watching outside of the United States soon. As soon as I have that, I'll share that on Twitter. I'm twitter.com/acarboni.
There were lots of loud, funny noises directly into the mic this episode, Ian. Did we handle it? You okay?
They're pretty good.
This time? We all
Yeah,
right?
it was
We're
all right.
balanced?
Lady!
Kyle, I don't think I saw you pick that controller up once this entire streaming. Did you play a little bit, Kyle?
Are you just the only one who made progress?
Whoa! Well, I appreciate
Smug
the effort.
Kyle.
Thank
not
you guys
even
for going
true.
through and playing the game. Thank you for playing on my console. So this is my save that I'll just pick up and have absolutely no idea what's happening later on. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Huber, for chilling on the couch and playing Shovel Knight. Thank you, as always, for handling community.
Thanks to chat for all the great questions.
Really good questions.
Yeah, thank you, everybody who sent stuff in.
Thank you, Ian, for controlling everything.
I get one. Thanks.
And thank you, most of all, you lovely young woman.
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, loved it. And thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week. Another GT Live.